All right, everybody, we are live. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. And I have the good brother, Khaled Genesis, with us on today. And we're going to be discussing Africans who begged for freedom versus Africans who fought for freedom. So, Cal, let me ask you this question, and this we're going to take this subject pretty much wherever we go is fine. Um, let's you specialize in Liberia, um,
Yeah,
first and
yeah.
foremost. Um,
hmm
this topic, how would that? I know you specialize in Liberia. You're doing work in Angola. How would this topic, I guess, fit uh, in regards to Liberia or Angola, or Angola, and we'll say a country like Senegal, who really didn't have, I would say, a resistance to colonialism, like versus Angola, where Cuba, Castro,
Right, right.
and
And we
um,
think, and also we order, like I said, we order one day and give Fidel Castro his own holiday. You know what I'm saying? And you know what Fidel Castro said when he was in Angola? He said the only thing he wants, Angola had oil, diamonds, everything. You know what he said? The only thing we're gonna take when we leave Angola, he says our dead soldiers' bodies.
oh wow,
We don't want anything. We don't that tip the scale of saying, okay, we know the Americans want our oil and the South Africans want our diamonds and everything like that. The Beards want our diamonds and all these other people, Anglo American wants our oil and all the British Dutch want our oil. But Cuba said, we're going to spill blood and Angola to free you. And the only thing we want to take home is our dead bodies. You know what I'm saying? So that shows you basically right there, Angola right there, who was real. Do you
right,
know Angola executed mercenaries? Look it up. Mercenaries, just Joe Blow white people in the '70s who thought they could make money and be some mercenaries in Angola. They got routed by the Cubans and Angolan forces. They got put on trial and hung. You know what I'm saying?
it's funny you bring that up. So there's a guy here in the Atlanta area who actually served in the apartheid South African army, and he tried to spin it and say, "Hey, we were at war with
With communism. Yeah,
with, with
we'll the communism.
yeah,
That's
or
what they try to.
yeah, he,
They always do that.
he
It's a
said
proxy
terrorists.
war. They say
Yeah,
terrorists and they use communism.
yeah,
But what they're
okay,
really fighting for is white supremacy, white
right,
domination. They want to make Angola and all Southern Africa like Zambia, like Zimbabwe and Rhodesia and what they look. In other words, Southern Africa had European settlement. Let's understand something. West Africa did not have any European settlement. There's no European settlement in West Africa. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Europeans made West African territory the protectorate. We moved up to
right,
Liberia. Okay, in Southern Africa, because of the climate, it's similar to the United States and Europe, right? For the most part, right? Europeans were able to settle there. Okay, they built railways connecting the major cities. They built ports, so they were able to settle there on the land. But the thing is, the majority of people there were Africans, were Black Africans, right? And then what happened was, as the Europeans spread their languages and culture and stuff like that, they became comfortable. That's the danger about making somebody comfortable and giving them power inside your own country. That's a
right,
problem. You don't ever make Europeans comfortable. I don't mind Europeans being in Africa, but I do have a problem with Europeans being comfortable in Africa. As soon as they start getting comfortable, say they were the Chinese. There's going to be another problem coming in the future with the Chinese going there and settling on land and farming. You know what I'm saying? And expecting the Africans to be like, oh, wait a minute. You never let somebody settle on your land and farm. The farming is supposed to be done by the local indigenous population, okay? For the most part. You don't let Chinese come over there and say your thing. And then the African is made to sit back and say, okay, this is progress, this is future. So we have to tell, so when they hear us talk, right? They hear us talk, they're like, yeah, there's something wrong with that because you got African Americans telling us we're stupid for letting them do it. So they begin changing their perception because the world will tell them that the only way you can have progress is by bringing in people that don't look like you from the outside, and that Africa needs to be colonized by foreigners to make it develop. That's a sad part of the reality in Southern Africa, the mentality in Southern Africa. They really think they need white people to survive because the white people's been here so long. All the infrastructure in Southern Africa is controlled by Europeans. The port. Let me give you an example. Durban. You know the port of Durban, right? South Africa, right? The port
yeah.
of Durban, right?
Actually, I've been there.
Oh yeah, okay. Durban's a beautiful city, right? But you know why that port is so big, right? That port basically services the whole entire sub-region, all the way up to Lusaka, Zambia. The rail line goes all into Lusaka, Zambia. So everything you see basically in Zambia and these countries, for the most part, originates in the port of Durban. But for the most part, now there's new ports in Maputo that back in the '90s that was built that Zimbabwe helped build to basically do an alternate rail line, and there's alternate rail lines to Tanzania now. But for the most part, the Chinese helped build everything. But for the most part, the region developed right in the '50s, '60s, and '70s from the port of Durban, right? And so therefore, it was not unusual to see South African businessmen and companies all throughout the whole entire region, and their partners are the Portuguese or the Greeks or whoever else European. So to the Africans, it seems like if anything modern and good in Southern Africa is by you have to have Europeans. Now, take it to West Africa is a little different, right? Nigeria has had a chance, right? Nigeria is an all black country. Okay,
Right.
there's no European settlement. Same thing with Liberia. Same thing with Ghana. For the most part, there's no European settlements. But the thing is, though, there's nothing when you look at the way the Europeans divided up these countries. And I said this 20 years. I said, look, what's holding Africa back, right? Is you don't have a combined infrastructure and rail system connecting them all the major African cities in the interior.
They're actually working on that. And then and let me ask this question, but you can answer it later.
Yeah.
This new free trade that the 44 countries signed up.
A disaster.
Let's later when you get a chance, or right now, whenever. Go ahead.
I'm gonna write that down because I want to talk about that.
Okay.
I write that down because I'm gonna talk about that. That is very, very critical. You know what I'm saying? I think Africa is making a big mistake.
Oh wow. Okay, but go ahead.
Big mistake. A big mistake. Okay, so like I said, I look at the rail lines, right? And I when I was with the Schuyler Science Institute, right, we had blueprints for a Trans-Africa Railway, rail lines linking all the coast of West Africa. For some reason, it sort of went through Liberia halfway, and then it went through the middle section of Yamoussoukro, I think it's called, Ivory Coast, and linking Kumasi, Ghana, to Abuja and stuff like that. It's formed like a ring, you know.
Mhm.
And then on the other side, it went up through Guinea, Sierra Leone, all the way up to Morocco, to the West Sahara country, Morocco, and then it linked up into a land bridge that would be built to Europe. You know what I'm saying? And then North Africa. And then the thing is, get this: you would have major lines, highway lines, linking Tripoli, right, down to Kano, Nigeria, down to Lagos coast, right, and then another one going through Algeria, through Mali, right, and through down through Ivory Coast.
Right.
You look at Africa, right, and you want to say, how come you can't develop? You can't develop because the French divided up these areas where you can't travel from one country to the other. You know what I'm saying? It's like sectioned off. So if Africa had its own thing, do you know before the French came there was trade routes, right? Trade routes linked the exact trade I just described. There was trade routes linking all the West African cities up for hundreds of thousands of years. You know, trade routes that went all the way through the Congo. They linked the Congo up with Mali. You know what I'm saying? Trade routes that went from.
Well, I mean, Mansa Musa, when you talk about him crossing the Sahara Desert to get to Mecca, I mean, that was.
Well, actually, he didn't. He went under. He went through the Sahel, right? And then when he got to like where Sudan is, he went up. He went up, and then he went to Cairo. You know, he didn't go through the desert. He went through the Sahel. He crossed through the Sahel. He stopped over in Kano. You know, he stopped over for like 3 weeks in Kano. You know, and they gave him a big reception. Everything. He went to Kenem, Bornu. He went to all these cities. Right? Then he veered up. When he crossed into the desert, he went across the desert into Cairo. You know what I'm saying? And stayed in Cairo for I think a year, and then he went on to Mecca. You know, and I think went to Cairo, stopped over Cairo, went to Mecca, came back and stayed in Cairo a year, but he was gone a total of 2 years. Okay, but the thing is, those trade routes, right? The West African empires had guards, patrols on those trade routes 100 years guarding trade. Trade came all the way from China, you know, India, into West Africa. if Europeans wanted anything from China, right? This is what started off. Europeans wanted anything from China, right, or India, spices. They had to get it from North African merchants who got it from where? Timbuktu. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? The challenge for the Europeans was finding a route around Africa to get to Asia. That's what they were trying to find. The Portuguese landed in West Africa in the 1500s, and then eventually made it across the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa into the Indian Ocean. That was the first time the Europeans had sailed. But the reason why they had sailed to Asia, right, to get Asian spices and everything, is because they were tired of getting it from the North Africans, the Moors in North Africa, and then the blacks in West Africa and everything. And so therefore they started looking for their own trade route around the thing. And that's what began the maritime Europe race. Europe became a maritime power. You know what I'm saying? Building
Right.
bigger and better ships. You know, before that, most of the world's commerce was done over land. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Right now, we're still using that same maritime system. You know what I'm saying? Because Africa is not developed. Africa could be the link, right, between Asia. Right, China's building infrastructure right now. I don't know if you saw this, right? They're spending like $80 trillion on world infrastructure because they want to be able to build rail lines that
You
go
say,
from China
did
to
you say
Africa.
trillion?
Trillions.
Wow.
China is investing trillions in global infrastructure. And I put the article up in my group, the on BAL STEM group. I put it up there, and it showed you China have plans to build tunnels through India, through the Middle East, through Africa, and all the stuff like that, Europe, and link all that together. You know what I'm saying? And I
Mhm.
said that's a superpower, right? I have the article up there. It's a video, you know. And also they wanted to build new tunnels linking Africa with Europe and new waterways linking Africa with South America, the whole world under one global trade. But a lot of it is going to be over land. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be this typical European sea voyage maritime trade that we're on right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why Europeans control the world. They control the seas. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If
Mhm.
Africa could build the Trans-Africa railways, right, which is vital, right? Everything that we do, like I said, we African Americans, we built the railways in this country. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got to take pride in that. One day we're going to go and help build Africa's railways. And I said like this: that when we start doing that, when Africans goods and services will flow up and down the continent, everything like that, and 90% of everything you do and buying is made on the continent, originates in the continent. Uh, now I want to segue into that to this free trade zone, this free trade area. You know?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. So
Okay.
44 countries have and I'm gonna guess the countries that probably aren't participating in it that did not that aren't part of the 44. I'm gonna just guess and say probably northern African countries from we'll say Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria,
No.
Algiers. Go ahead.
Mm-mm. From what I'm hearing, right, the people that's going to benefit the most from this, all those countries in North Africa, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Sudan and Egypt and everything. The countries that really don't want to do this is countries like Nigeria, a future industrial power. You know. Now 3 years ago, the same thing happened in West Africa, right? Now Ghana, this is segue into what I want to talk about Ghana, right?
Go ahead.
A couple of years ago, right? Nigeria was pressured by Ghana, right, to go into ECOWAS, the West African Free Trade Zone, right?
Okay.
Nigeria, they had everything going right? And Nigeria pulled out, right, at the last minute. And then Ghana, right, and I was shocked at this, right? This is why this thing right here shocks me with this military thing shocked me, but it doesn't shock me anymore. Ghana, the president at the time, the last president, Adam Mills, I believe it was, right, went to the United States and the EU, right? Went there, physically went there, and said we should sanction Nigeria for not doing this. And the Ivory Coast president, all the countries in West Africa said the same thing. Nigeria's holding up this trading block, right? Nigeria
Uh-huh.
said, "Look, why do we want a trading block? None of these products that we're talking about are African origin, right? You
Mhm.
got Lebanese firms, European firms will just come there, and particularly Francophone countries, right? France, right? France is the
Right.
biggest problem. You know what I'm saying? all these French countries, like they'll say on the surface, they're like, "Oh, African free trade," but the Africans don't own the factories. These are Europeans. These are Chinese. These are everybody. They all went into the biggest one. See, if they could see, they're not going to bother with Africa unless Nigeria's on board. That's 200 million people. You know what I'm saying? The
Mm-hmm.
biggest economy on the continent, right?
Bigger than
So
South Africa?
it surpassed South Africa 2 years ago. You
Okay.
know, but the thing is, but the ratio is different because there's more people. It's 56, 60 million people in South Africa, and there's 200 million. So, but still, the per capita is still higher in South Africa. Okay, but Nigeria has the biggest economy on the continent. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
largest economy. Right. If Nigeria doesn't participate, you can forget it. You know what I'm saying?
All
You
right.
can forget. You forget it. It doesn't even make it work. That's the real prize. The real prize is like so they want Nigeria to be stupid enough to be like, oh, Pan Africanism, African brother, blah 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 blah. At the same time, they flood Nigeria with goods that originated in other countries. You know, just because you have a factory in Ivory Coast, don't mean it's an Ivory Coast product. You know what I'm saying? Just because, like, there's another thing is they want to define Africa not by race but by geography. So in other words,
Right.
basically, if you're a French person living in Egypt, right, you're technically now an African. You're an Arab or whatever like that living in Tunisia, right? Never had any contact with black people, but because you're on the so-called African continent and Africa is defined by geography, you are now an African. You right? Now you have access to a whole continent. You know what I'm saying? For what? You know what I'm saying? So that's what the problem is, right? And so Nigeria said, no, we don't want this. We don't want to flood our country with these cheap. We got a lot of manufacturers and everything here. There's small up and coming manufacturers like Dangote cement. Why would you want to undercut yourself by dumping cheap cement in our market? You know, dumping your cheap products in our market. Dangote is now building the world's biggest oil refinery in Nigeria. You know, it's going to produce its own gas, and it's going to really go forward. I mean, I talk a lot. I talk a lot about Nigeria and everything like that. Yeah, no problem. But I still believe that Nigeria is still the African giant. You know what I'm saying? You know, and when they ever get their stuff together, Nigeria is going to be a force to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying? Because to
Hey,
be honest with you, man, I still got people over there that live there. You know, that still live there, doing business and everything. Despite all the stuff we hear about Nigeria every day, people leaving, this and everything. There's still a huge business and industrial class stuff you don't see in Black America even.
mm.
You know,
Hey, real quick, everybody that super chatted, thank you so much. Sharon Ross. Well, real quick, let me just share with everyone. If you super chat, okay, email me your address and let me know which postcard you want. If you want me with the King of Alada, or if you want me with the Ashanti Royal Guard. Sharon Ross. I'm also gonna include for your super chat. I'm gonna include another special gift as well. So please email me at searchforhuru@gmail.com. Searchforhuru@gmail.com, so I can get you guys your gifts for contributing. Thank you so much. All right, Genesis, go ahead.
right. So, like I said, Nigeria is still a superpower, even though the president hasn't been in the country in a year. Buhari, I hope that when the elections come up, I think it's in 2020, I believe. I hope Fashola, Governor Fashola, former Governor of Lagos Fashola, wins the dang thing, you know. But you got a lot of people out there that don't like Fashola and whatever like that. But I pray that he becomes president of Nigeria, and you'll see the whole entire continent change. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If he becomes president of Nigeria. Nigeria's never had a leader like that, and not play as a lawyer, unpolitical, but there's people trying to take him down now, you know what I'm saying? Trying to discredit him and everything like that. But what he did for Lagos, he turned Lagos around. You know what I'm saying? He made Lagos into a modern city. It got his challenges with the electricity grid, and that's the one thing the challenge Nigeria has is the electricity. We can't get there.
But
We
let me ask you,
yeah.
real quick. Sorry to cut you off. I was going to bring up the whole electricity issue.
Yeah.
What's the recourse for that? Like, what's the solution for that? I'm sorry for changing the subject.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, it's a very good topic. Very good topic because, bro, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things we have to get right, right? Electricity is the one thing we have to get. Electricity and infrastructure is the one thing we have to get right. You know what I'm saying? Before you have water systems, sewer systems, everything, your electricity has to be there. Electricity, without electricity, you're not going to have high pumping for water systems, your water drainage systems, your sewer systems, your everything, your ambulance services. If you have a blackout, right, and for a whole day, 2 days, that shuts down productivity, right? And if you have probability, when people look at it and say, "Oh, we're gonna," is Nigeria a good investment, right? Nigeria has a public municipal bond, right? Well, geez, it doesn't have its electricity right. So people put just like you're a high risk, right? So you're a country with a high risk. So you have a less yield on your municipal bond when you go to borrow money to build. If you got a country that has good schools, right? You produce good, educated kids. You have stable roads. You have aesthetics, tranquility, low crime rate, all those things right here. Then the probability that your country is going to be able to have growth and everything and pay back your bonds, municipal bonds and treasury bonds, everything is probably good, right? So
Mhm.
people will buy your bonds, right? They'll buy your bonds and you have a better interest rate. You understand? But if you keep giving them horror story after horror story, right? They're like this is what countries stay for. This is why countries haven't had been able to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build this and everything. And people don't have any credibility because people don't want to invest in your country. You know, when people put down their bonds, when some country like Painter Web say, I want to invest my hedge fund in this country right here, right? You know, now Rwanda is prime for investment. You know, it's prime for investment. Now Rwanda is smiling bright over this trade agreement. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it doesn't have any natural resources, right? But you know what Rwanda is going to benefit from? It's going to be the IT hub. You know what I'm saying? All
I thought
the
that was gonna
IT.
I thought that was gonna be Kenya. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Kenya is all right, but Kenya has too many political problems. Tribalism. Rwanda is going to be the IT hub of the Great Lake region. It's going to be Silicon Valley on steroids. You know what I'm saying? Its economy is the fastest growing economy with 7 to 11% annual growth rate, the highest per capita, highest growth rate in the world right now. And it has no natural resources. It's all business transaction, logistics. Like,
Actually, they somewhat have natural resources, from my understanding, from
oh yeah,
what's
they
going
have
on in the
tea.
Congo.
They have tea. Oh yeah. Well, that's another debate.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
know, I would have to do some research and come
Okay,
back with that. Let's not do it. That's another debate.
go
No
ahead.
man, no, ain't we don't want to go there with that. All
Yeah.
right. So, but for the most part, they don't have any natural resources. That's another show. We both have to sit back and do some studying. Okay, I
Yeah.
hate accusation all the time, right? And I have to do my research, because I'm all about President Kagame. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That brother is a friggin' and when I say that, I got people jumping on me. I had this one brother threaten me, you know what I'm saying, for Burundi. And I said he threatened me one night. He's in California, he's gonna come and get me one night. He's in California, because I praise Kagame, I said, bro, take a chill pill, And so anyway, the IT hub, financial media, you know what I'm saying? Like Rwanda's going back to making Swahili the national language. It'll be the first country that not only is first of all it got rid of French, right? It moved to English, right? And it's going to eventually phase in Swahili as a national language. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So therefore, you got an English speaking population and everything. So you imagine having your own global Al Jazeera, CNN, permitting out of Central Africa. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Media is going to generate so much wealth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Programming originating in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Media headquarters in Africa. Media, studio, art, culture, IT, business transit, banking, finance, all the stuff like that is going to be in one. So in other words, it's going to be like Singapore. Singapore got rich. How? By
Wow. Good
managing and
question.
processing the resources of Southeast Asia. It was a
Oh,
shipping
okay.
hub. People, countries like Malaysia, Thailand, you say, okay, send their products to Singapore, right? Singapore will break them up in crates, blah, 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 ship storage in the free port, and then whatever, they ship them to a thing and collect the fee. It got rich just doing business transactions, shipping. Same thing with Hong Kong, business transactions, shipping, warehousing, logistics. Okay, there's not one African country that has mastered the science of logistics. You know what I'm saying? Most of the
Mhm.
stuff, except for South Africa. South Africa has a good logistical system. You know what I'm saying? South Africa has a good logistical system. because
Well,
South
it's
Africa
based on the
was
West.
just
It's pretty much based on the
yeah,
Western
yeah,
system.
the
That's
Western Cup, the Western Cup. But the black
right.
countries in Africa have to get it together as far as Kenya's building this new port in Lamu. You know, that's supposed to be the biggest port on the continent.
Hmm.
Then you got Cameroon building a new free trade zone and everything. So they're building free. The idea to build free trade zones, but you still need people. You know what I'm saying? Now people say, well, this is a good job of African American. Okay, yes, that's good opportunity for African American, but you also got a lot of Africans. They don't want. I mean, somehow it's like this. If we come over there and start doing stuff to take the jobs from them, you know what I'm saying? You know, they're like, well, geez. You know, well, even Europeans, they see Europeans, they're like, well, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, these Europeans are eventually going to go home, you know? Whereas other black people, they're like, oh, man, he's here to stay.
Yeah,
He's going to
but
take
yeah, but I think what I tell people, especially Black people, if you plan on relocating to Africa, you need to go in with the mindset of creating jobs, not looking for a job.
Exactly, exactly. And I hate people when they say they're like, "Oh, I'm looking." I'm like, "No, man, no, no, no. You got to come there and create." Well, why? No. The bottom line is this: you can't just get that good job and just sit my ties on the beach. You know what I'm saying? For the rest of the day. When you come to Africa, man, when I go and when I have a whole alternative, I want to build. You know what I'm saying? Because I know if you are creating jobs for the local people, you're not doing business with the local people. You're going to cause tension, and rightfully so. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? We like to, even though how hard and racist is in America, we still have it better. But we want to make it better because one, there's our brothers and sisters and whatnot. You know, we
Right.
love our people, we love our race. It's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? We've been so brainwashed into being Americans and everything. And we'll get back to what we was talking about before we start the show and everything about the AME church and
And
stuff
then
like that.
when you finish, we got a question, a pretty good. We got a question in the chat room. But
No, no, go ahead. Let me take the question first.
okay. Does the guest know about the hold France has on its former colonies? That is the main reason why former French colonies are lagging behind Nigeria and Kenya. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with that, but at the same time, right? Same time, there's a lot. Let's be honest with ourselves. There's a lot of black people who pride themselves on France. You know what I'm saying? Who pride themselves on being black Frenchmen. You know, that's what the French did good that the Americans, never did. You know, the French did a thing by telling you you're not Senegalese, you're not Wolof, you're not a Sur, you're not a Mendika. You are now a black Frenchman. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you something that people are not gonna like when I say this. I'm not gonna Toussaint Ouverture. He was
Right.
not real an African revolutionary. He was a black Frenchman. You know what I'm saying? He went over there. He went over to Haiti, right? And he joined with the slave revolt because he felt that the slave he didn't really think anything was wrong with the institution of slavery. But when he found out it was based on race, then he rebelled against that, right? But he wasn't rebelling as a Haitian or an African, right? He was saying that these people down here were he accused the white people of defiling France. Because remember something, right? At the time, slavery was hotly being debated in France. You know,
Mhm.
there were people in France saying, "Wait a minute here, you got people getting rich in these colonies over here, enslaving black people in my name." You think about that. Most of the colonies and everything were private enterprises, right? That the kings and the dukes and all them did. The average citizens in these countries had nothing to do or didn't know anything about what's going on in colonies, right? You
Mhm.
know, and so you had black people who lived in Europe. Either they went along with it, right? Unless somehow so fortunate they got kidnapped and sold to slavery themselves or whatnot. But Toussaint Louverture was like, man, this is cruel. Yeah, this is unbecoming of a Frenchman. You see the mindset.
Right.
He was speaking as France is better than this. That's why. But the Africans didn't care nothing about that. They just want to be free. But he was leading a thing. We want to expand France. We want to expand France polling in North America. The Louisiana Purchase and all stuff like that. Jefferson's Louisiana Purchase from France and all that. And there was a lot of Haitian exports to Chicago. People don't even know that part. But the Haitians, for the most part, didn't care about the African Americans, whatever. Like they, kinship. They weren't French. But the whole thing is there were some Haitians that were on the islands, right?
Right.
When they came to America, right? They came to America and they settled among black people. They were black because they were slaves. The free blacks that lived in France, everything like that. The explorers and the people that were in the high up in the French military, they didn't see themselves as part of any thing. And let me get to that in a minute. Get to what the question was. Now,
You say you forgot what the question was, or
no. So I'm gonna get to what the girl said, what she said about French,
okay,
older French. Now, look, this is how it is. The French makes his money, right? Makes his money, has no natural resources, right? It
correct.
makes his money monetizing, right? You can monetize anything. You can anything that can be consumed can be monetized, right? Right. This is what we're doing with the natural resource bank that we built in Angola and the Gold Bullion Bank in Angola, right? We're monetizing natural resources, right? If you have natural resources, you can monetize. You can monetize. You can do options. Okay, I got a crop here, right here. You can buy options. You can monetize. You can monetize anything. Anything that can be resold can be monetized, right? Or what they call futures. Okay, you speculate that this is going to sell at this price in this year because we're gonna have a drought, so this price is gonna be right here. So you bet. So you print your money based on what you think it's gonna spend at, as like that. And people buy your currency, back it up. The French monetizes their economy mainly through cocoa, like by cocoa. These countries grow the cocoa. What they do with this, the French had controlled the logistics of, let's say, Ivory Coast, the number one country in the French Union, right? And Gabon, right? These countries grow the products, right? The
Mm-hmm.
product is part of the French zone, right? The government gets a line of credit. The French makes all the money, the billions of dollars. These governments get a line of credit, right? Which they set their budget on, right? Anything
Right.
left over, whatever like that, they manufacture, whatever like that, they do. But for the most part, they're part of the French monetary zone, right? That means their money is backed up by the French the franc. Okay, how they keep that thing is they basically sell off their lumber, their timber, their natural resources, right? And the French gives them a line of credit, right? And they take that line of credit, right? And they back up their own currencies with it, right? The only thing backing up the African currencies is the credit line they get from France. Now, people say, well, why would they do this? Well, now get this. If you're a country in Ivory Coast, right, and you want to sell your product to somebody in the other French zones and everything, you don't have to pay these tariffs, you know, to France, right? You don't have to pay tariffs to France, right? You can send your students abroad to France to study, There are all kinds of perks when you join as part of the French monetary zone. They basically got them. The French companies ship the goods for you. Now, let me give you an example in Guinea, right? Guinea-Bissau exports aluminum, right? Bauxite, aluminum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you remember this incident a few years ago, a couple of decades ago, where the Guinea-Bissau said, "Look, okay, we're losing money on our bauxite, right? The French they nationalized the bauxite, right? Nationalized it, right? Because the only person the French did something with the Americans and everybody else that the only people that can ship it, they create some regulation is us, right? So the French were charging them whatever they lost, they charged in shipping fees to ship their bauxite. So not Guinea-Bissau, Guinea was like, okay, we have to ship our bauxite for the France. The shipping, the storage, the warehousing, the unloading, everything like that is usually controlled by France. Okay, these
Right.
French shipping companies don't want to go out of business, because just because they don't care, So the French are going to make the same amount of money. So the bottom line is Guinea should have left the French its bauxite alone. Let the French have it. Let them deal with all the costs. Now they have to deal with all the costs, and they have to rely on France for shipping, or their European allies, America and everything, won't even see the injustice in that and say no. We France, Guinea could go whoever it wants to ship because there was people that would ship the bauxite for much cheaper. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But the French blocked that. You know what I'm saying? Through all kinds of different trade agreements and blah blah blah, all this stuff like that. So the French are basically controlling Africa. They control what goes into the French African colonies, and can control what goes out. If something goes on in Ivory Coast, the French Foreign Legion, whatever they call them, will be there in a minute. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
same thing with Mali.
Oh yeah, they'll be there in a minute. You know what I'm saying? So the bottom line, it's to the point where I was listening to this one program a couple of years ago, where somebody actually said, "Look, France got to do better." Okay, when that thing happened with Mali with the Al Shabaab, whatever was there, And somebody, one of the commentators on CNN said, French got to do a better job in making sure this stuff don't happen in their colonies. Actually said that. Actually called these countries their colonies. Let it slip. In their colonies.
Mhm.
So that's basically what it is. And like I said, to the topic, the reason why is because now let me give you an example. The West Africa fought a long, bloody war with the French, and there were no pushovers. The one of the bloodiest battles for liberation was when people don't talk about it was in West Africa. That's where Europeans lost a lot of lives, and like that's why there was no settlement in West Africa. You know what I'm saying? They lost a lot. The Shanties beat the British like 10 times before the British. I think it was Lord Lugar. I forgot his name. Sat on the British shanty stool and made the king kiss his feet. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But they fought them. They fought them. You know what I'm saying? The Shanties were good warriors. You know what I'm saying? The Songhai, the Mendika, they rode in horse battle against the French. And it was a bloody war. But the bottom line is, what defeated West Africa wasn't even the French. It was modernization. Modernization always trumps all. Same thing with the Zulus. The Zulus fierce in battle, but hey, look, the modern cannon, the Gatling gun, and all the stuff like this. And also the fact that the rule of law, all this stuff like this. And then there was a lot of Zulus who say, look, the white man's building railways. We got to, we're backwards out here. We're still doing the same thing. And they look at these cities the white man's building, and they're like, that's the way forward. You see him? Now here's the thing there was one part of the continent where there were buildings going up, and there were streets being built, and there were railways being built, but it was being done by black men. You know what I'm saying? And that was Liberia. You know what I'm saying? And having Liberia on the continent developing at the same time where Europeans were convincing Africans that they need to be colonized did something to the Africans on the continent. They're like, well, why do you have this black state over here? If they can do it, they can put up buildings and they can lay down bricks and have government and everything like that. Everything. Why can't we do the same thing? And then what happened was there was an group of educated Africans in Zululand, right? This is the whole thing. The Europeans, except for the French did a good job. Is they made all their educated people and underaged people black French, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know what's going to take for that. Maybe take another 1,000 years to get rid of that.
Mhm.
You're in Southern Africa, it was a little different. In British Africa, they said the British Anglo Saxons they were superior to the white Boers, the blacks, everybody. You know what I'm saying? So black people never became black Englishmen, except for the ones who live in London. Think they're Englishmen. Black people never became black Englishmen in any of the British territory. They hated it. You call them a white man, get out, Englishman, go home. The British never tried to make the black man black Englishmen like the French did. The French really thought the French culture could transform race. You know what I'm saying? That's a neoliberalism. You can transform race. In Southern Africa, the British hate it. Now, get this. Now, what do you do with the growing number of educated black people in Zululand, right? What they did was this. They said, you know something? We got African Zulus who from the African Methodist Episcopal Church, right, came to the United States, right, studied in black institutes. This is 1850, right,
Right.
during the Civil War. Some Africans that were we have a 150-year history in South Africa, and some of the black people in South Africa learned Christianity from us. Christianity, the African, the Soweto Gospel Choir that came from African Americans. Now they bring them over here. They get educated. They go to some white university, black university, and everything. Now, when he goes back to his own community, right, he's like an alien. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
Now the British know this, right? They're like, well, he's the African is now saying, he's saying, Mr. British white man, I know how to outgovern. No, 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 you're African. He go, okay, let me show you. I know I'm more educated than you are. I know this, algebra, science, blah, blah, blah. Why are you telling me I can't read? Well, your people don't even like you, you know? And then the British will go to the Africans and say, you know something? We have this African chief, the paramount chief. This is the history of the paramount chiefs in Africa. Another problem. You know something? we got these group of educated people, black people over here. They want to lead you guys to rebellion, blah blah blah. But I think you guys, the kings, know what's better for your people. You see, I think you guys know what's best for your people. So therefore, that's what began what they call the African Colonial Federation of Kings. You know what I'm saying? Every African country has this. You know what I'm saying? Where even Liberia uses it. Let's be honest. Even like the Paramount Kings, the king having a Paramount King system, right? Right,
Mm-hmm.
ensured that the people who you knew weren't gonna ever be educated were stayed in line. You know, in Zulu, you saw what happened in Zululand a couple of years ago, last year, right? The king is out there talking about I miss the days of apartheid. The apartheid government gives he has a salary, he has all this stuff like that. The king of Zululand,
Right.
good with name Goodwill. He has a salary. He has a harem. Everything a throwback. He's a throwback. Now this was what the problem was in KwaZulu Natal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The incident with KwaZulu Natal was the educated black people, right, joined the ANC. They saw it as progress, modernization, right? Civilization, ANC. The Inkatha was created by the colonial, by the South African white government, right? Was funded and constructed by thing to promote Zulu nationalism. Now, why is it that they promote nationalism only when it's going to cause conflict with other black people? Now, there was other black people inside of KwaZulu that weren't Zulus, right?
Right.
They didn't consider themselves black, you know? They lived in Durban, everything were black. Suddenly you got these Zulu nationalists talking about we want all non-Zulu out. You know what I'm saying? And you
Right.
got Inkatha. Inkatha was given jobs, business contracts. See, this is another thing. This is another thing. We black people in America need to understand. The white man in America never played these games with us. Why? Because we never had any numbers. You know, there's no Afghanistan in North America. You know, there's no territory that we control. We're not
Right.
the majority any place. You know what I'm saying? At least in South Africans, everybody, these people are on their own land. You know what I'm saying? They have homelands. They have recognized home. Where's the homelands in North America? We're always on the run. You know what I'm saying? We don't have any homelands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so therefore the Europeans played this game of the modern people like the ANC who are Pan Africanists and black consciousness, and you had the people who want to be traditionalists like the Akapa. You know what I'm saying? And they were
Right.
putting their bet on the Akapa. When you hear South Africa, and I'll put money on this, right? Go to any South African, right, white South African, he would never refer to black people by being black, or African. He always calls somebody a Zulu. Oh, I talked to a Kosa the other day. He
Right.
always
Right.
want to different. You notice that, right? You know what I'm saying? He
Yes.
always
Mhm.
want to distinguish
Well,
different Africans.
what the thing is, that's kind of Africa in general when white people are over there who live in
Yeah, but
Africa. They
but the thing is, when I get there, I'm gonna check that. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll be like, "Oh
right.
yeah, and you gotta check." We as African Americans gotta check that. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot play with tribalism in this day and time. No, as far as you are concerned, as a white man, we're all Africans and black. We're all the same. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Just like when you, back in the days, you couldn't call an Italian or whatever like that. As far as they were concerned, you're talking to a white person.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
brother Genesis, Callie, real quick. Somebody in the chat room saying, if we could get back to Africans who begged for freedom or versus Africans who fought for freedom and kind of tie everything we're talking about all in to
Okay,
that.
okay, okay, okay. The whole thing is this: when Nigeria was went for independence, right?
Hmm.
Independence. That's part of begging for freedom. They went there and they formed an alliance between the South, North, and everything, and they went to the Queen of England, and then they had a procession in 1960, 59, right? And they
Hmm.
asked for freedom, right? And so it looked like Nigeria, a big country, had no will to fight. They're like, no, 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 no. Lagos was going. You got Ibadan was growing as a modern city. You had Kano. You had all the cities. So Nigerians asked for freedom. Asked for freedom. They begged for it, right? Same thing with Ghana. You know, Kwame Nkrumah was going to be the new prime minister, not president, prime minister first. They asked for freedom, right? Every
Hmm.
one of these countries that asked for freedom went to turmoil. You know, Nigeria had no less than like 8 military coups. between 1960 and the 1970s, right? And they
Right.
expelled 2 million Ghanaians. Okay, $400 million worth of oil revenue disappeared off the books that unaccounted for
Yes.
in Nigeria.
Correct.
400 billion with a B disappeared off the books. Getting back to the electrical grid, right? All these things right here, training a whole generation of engineers and everything. That was the money was supposed to train a whole generation of engineers, scientists, everything to run their electrical grid of not just Nigeria, but all of West Africa. They blew it, right? Now get
Mm-hmm.
this. Get this. This is the difference between people who fought for independence and this other thing. Nigeria, check this out. Nigeria, when Biafra said, you know something, this ain't working right. This is not working. This is not working out. In the eastern part, said we want to succeed and become a territory. Matter of fact, not just Biafra, but the whole eastern region. The Igbos wanted to succeed. They had with the oil. Now, what gets me is this, right? Now, where was all this muster and might against the British? The instead of talking it out, saying, we're not going to let you succeed like that, but give us a good reason, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
Biafra said, this ain't working. We have our own culture, language. Nigeria is a farce. It never was. It never will be. It looked like they were right.
Is Biafra? Are they the Igbos or Hausa? Like
They're
who are who's
the E-Jaws. They're a mixture of E-Jaws and Igbos. Mostly
okay?
Igbos.
Igbo.
But the
Got it. Okay.
Biafra Kingdom are special people. They're special people with their own culture and kinship. They have a kinship that you gotta understand something that goes back. And one of my business partners, right, from Ejaw, and they think a certain way. Don't ever try to get to these brothers, whatnot, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? They're Biafran, they're Igbo or Ejaw. They're never gonna connect with you on that level. So they'll be like, but for the most part, they got 2,000 years of history that they were that, and they're never going to be a Nigerian. They're never going to be an African. They're never going to listen to your idea of being a Pan African. They're Biafran, they're Igbo, Ijaw, Igbo, and that's what they are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are. Now, what I was saying was this: the Nigerian government's response to that was one of the most brutal things I think in the history of
Yeah,
Africa. You know what I'm saying?
I seen one of the documentaries on it. It
I
was
mean, it
yeah.
was the most horrible thing, and that really right there, really, really tells me something. How is it that Africans got to rely on Cubans to defend them when it comes to white people, but when it comes to other black people, you know what I'm saying, who dare ask to succeed, which was legitimate, right? Any country could succeed, terribly succeed if they want the international law. You know what I'm saying? But the brutal response, you know what I'm saying, says something about Africans. You know what I'm saying? We didn't do that. You didn't do that. Nigeria didn't do that with the British. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You begged and pleaded, blah, blah, blah. You gave them everything, the Royal Dutch Shell. You left the oil, or everything like that in place and everything. It wasn't until the 70s where the oil in Port Harcourt, most of the business was done offshore. Nigeria had to say, no, you got to do business here. You're going to open an office in Nigeria. They didn't want to
Right.
even do business. All they wanted was the oil. They didn't want to set up shop inside Nigeria and do business. It's on shore. That's a blatant disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Disrespect they have for Africans, and Africans tolerate it.
Right.
Same thing with Ghana. Same thing with Ghana. We wonder why we see what we see in Ghana right to this day.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? How is it? And I'm still trying to wrap my head on it. You mean to tell me you're going to give the American government, military, unfettered access to any facility? You can't complete immunity to anyone. You can't arrest them for anything, whatever. Like they're going to walk through your country, whatever, unfettered. What for? And they're going to give you $20 million?
Right. But what can you buy with $20 million? Some rusty
Nothing.
AK-47s from
Nothing.
Soviet Union, old
Nothing.
rusty.
And so I'm saying to myself, this is what happens when you know your freedom wasn't paid for in blood. You know what I'm saying? You go to Guinea-Bissau, they got a good check because they fought in blood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Angola. Angola, the reason why we're doing so well in Angola right now is because they're a free country. Every time I
Right.
talk to my partners in Angola, oh, this happened. Oh yeah, I'm like shocked at all the success we're having over there. And you gotta understand something. There's no British or whatever French or Portuguese whoever called. No, 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 because they're scared of this and that. It's a really free country, a country that's free. Zimbabwe is going to be the same way. You know, a really free country. You know what I'm saying? For this way. You know, but the thing is, I think with that Lancaster Agreement in 1980, I think what Gavi should. I guess people tired of war that came in from the Bush, right? And you
Right.
know, but for the most part, they should just sort it out. The best thing you can do, just like with, do you remember Laura Kabila in the Congo? This guy, President Joseph Kabila's father. You
Well, yeah,
know,
I know Joseph's the current president, but I don't know anything
yeah,
about
his father was Laurent Kabila.
it.
This
Okay.
guy was a this guy was a colorful character. He was a colorful character. You know what I'm saying? Big man. You know what I'm saying? And he was a singer and everything. He lived in the heart of the Congo for decades. And then out of
But
nowhere, man.
somebody just made a sorry to cut you off. Somebody just made a comment in the chat room, and I kind of brought this up with you in regards to Dos Santos and his daughter.
I'll get to that.
Angola is the worst country in America, and I'm sorry, Angola is the worst country in Africa in terms of corruption and mismanagement. How do you feel
Okay,
about
now check this out. First of all, Dos Santos and his daughter, right, are not in power anymore. There's a new president there.
that? Okay.
I'll be on. I'll tell you right now. One of my business associates, right, is now in jail in Angola. You know, I believe she'll be cleared. I believe she'll be cleared. But this current president right here is not playing. He's cleaning this country. He knows he got a good thing. The infrastructure's good. The money's there. He's going to clean this country up. Now,
Okay.
Dos Santos, his daughter, made billions of dollars. But look what they built. Let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something right now. I'm sick and tired of people using the Western media's talking points to judge Africa. When Africa is when countries in shambles, there's no infrastructure, there's nothing, there's no television, there's nothing, and you're trying to build. There's no way you could build a country and say, "Oh, cross the T's." Now, what you can do is after you observed it for a while and say, "Look, let me make these recommendations," and then you write laws, right, and put regulations down. This is the way it's going to be after this date right here. You know, anytime you want to clear up pollution, anything like that, you say, okay, it's going on right now. Going on right now. This is what we're going to do to change it, right?
Hmm.
You don't just tell a country after 30 years of civil war, oh, use corruption and everything. Of course, people are going to get rich, going to get richer, whatever. I'm not trying to be an apologist with the Santos, but I can look at it the way it was. But they had the country to build. Now you look at Rwanda. Rwanda is one of the only countries that like Kigali. They got a nightlife. They got a skyline. Beautiful city. A beautiful freaking city nightlife. What else? Now, now is everything perfect? No. But Angolans, you got Angolans now who are getting rich. A middle class is growing. Everything. Kids are going to school and everything. New houses and new cities are being built. You know what I'm saying? And new stuff like that. It's all built. Oh, Dos Santos, Dos Santos, Dos Santos. Okay. What is this? You know, what gets me is this. There are white people still in Africa, right? Still in Africa, getting rich, billions every day and everything. Nobody probably even knows their freaking names. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to black people, and I'm not an apologist, whatever like that. Everybody, oh no, Dos Santos, Dos Santos. There's the bottom line is this: Dos Santos basically hand his country over to America. Because one of my partners, Angola partners, told me this. He said Angola went to the United States before he discovered oil, right? Said we need like $10 billion for oil exploration. Blah 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 blah. It was during the time I think it was the Bush administration, and they would sort of didn't respect him, whatever like that. Then when they discovered oil, right? Oil, right? Now they're making billions when the United States. Okay, we're but now the Chinese and the South Koreans got a leg in, the Russians got a leg in. You know what I'm saying? And the United States don't really have the power and influence, and the British don't have the power and influence. Do you know that Angola loaned Portugal 32, not million, $32 billion?
Right,
His former colonizer?
but didn't Angola go bankrupt? I
No,
missed
no,
something. Okay, they didn't. Okay.
no. Angola is like one of the highest per capita in Africa right now. Has a low population, you know what I'm saying, and it has it's building an infrastructure like you won't ever see. You know, people always want to throw shade. Anytime people start throwing negativity out there, but yet they basically keep now. Just a few weeks ago, before this whole thing happened with Ghana, what were they saying? There was an article talking about this is the fastest growing economy in the world. If this is the fastest growing economy in the freaking world, why the heck are they need $20 million from America? This is what I'm talking about. This is when people ask
Right.
you to come at the college genesis, you're gonna get it like it is. How you gonna have telling me about Ghana being the fastest growing economy in the world and all this kind of stuff like that, blah blah blah, and then 2 weeks later, oh, we need $20 million. Come on, come on, man. What do people think I was born yesterday? No, it don't
Hmm.
work like that. You know, yeah, the Santos, they're not in power no more. They're out of office. There's a peaceful transmission of power. Next month in April, there's going to be a whole thing. Angola relaxes visas to allow African Americans to come over there freely. They want African Americans to do business in their country. Language is a barrier, but we can overcome that.
Hmm.
But so therefore, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. The reason why you don't hear it is because America and the West will ignore what's going on in Angola because it don't fit their narrative. You know what I'm saying? They want to fit their narrative. People starving, this corruption, this tribalism, ethnic violence. That's the narrative they want to put out. Of every African country that they don't like. Now all that stuff does exist in Ghana, but fastest growing economy in the world. Fastest growing for what? Ghana's oil wells went dry. That was a bust. It now owes money. So how the hell can it be the fastest growing economy? Who writes these blogs? I think, tell me the truth, man. I think some people, they need to have a new law. If you write fake stuff and get Negroes excited, you ought to be arrested. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Negroes,
yeah.
Negroes believe in everything they see on the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
So,
Real quick question: should Africans ditch capitalism for a new economical system inspired by pre-colonial Africa? That's a good question.
well, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
When you say capitalism, what they
Yeah.
don't understand, I guarantee you one thing: the person who asked that question don't know what capitalism really is. They can't give you a real because it's vague and abstract. Capitalism, vague abstraction. They can't understand what real capitalism is and what capitalism is. Now, there's many different versions of capitalism. If it
Hmm.
wasn't capitalism, you and I wouldn't be sitting on Google Hangouts right now because we're making Google money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is all business capitalism? You know what I'm saying? Should everyone stop going into business? Should we stop making money? All the innovation stuff that we see that the government gives money to companies like IBM and Google and Facebook for research and technology, Silicon Valley, gives people better options and better choice. Without capitalism, people would not have variety, wouldn't have choice in products and everything. The problem is Africans haven't become producers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
How you gonna talk
bam.
about capitalism? Why don't Africans become producers and compete? That's the answer. Not get rid of capitalism. No, why don't you start stepping up to the plate and start building and competing? For that, you're gonna need African Americans and you're gonna need the blacks from the West. And then we can build something and we can compete with the Chinese and we can give our people some sense of pride. That's the answer right there.
There we go. Well, there it is. Let's see. There's another question. Where's this question at? And this might be a little bit off topic, but Dos Santos, I mean, his daughter, Isabel, she's mixed. So is there a mulatto class in Angola?
Oh, let me say it like this. Let me say it like this. Say it like this. Dos Santos, his daughter, first of all, she's married to a black man.
No, she's married. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! I thought she's married to a white. Hold on, I gotta look this up now. I gotta
No,
challenge you on this.
no, no,
I
no,
think
no. She's married to a black man.
hold on. Hold on. Let's see here. But go ahead.
As
Go ahead.
far as far as I know, she's married to a black man. You know what I'm saying? Married to a black man. He's like I think he's like I don't know what he is. I think he's a minister in the
Oh,
government or something.
he's black. He's light skinned, but he's black. Hold
He's
on. Hold
black.
on.
You
Hold
know
on.
what I'm saying? No, he's a brown skinned brother.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I stand corrected. I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
Yeah, yeah.
I stand.
All right. So like I said, I would not tell you anything different, bro.
Right,
No, she's
right.
married
I
to a
swear.
black man, and she checks out. They've been trying to put so much dirt out on her. She's invited Nicki Minaj. She's invited Black Sheep Entertainment. She's with Oprah. She's been reaching out to Black America. Mr. Rosenthal is good for her. My partner, Mr. Rosenthal, is good friends with her. She's been reaching out to Black America for decades, for that decade, years now. And she's basically somebody who basically believes in Pan Africanism. You know what I'm saying? Even though
Oh
she's
wow.
mixed. You know what I'm saying? She's mixed. She's mixed race. And, hey, look, but the bottom line is this. I would take somebody like her who's mixed race over some of these Negroes out here, like this stupid president of Ghana who's sitting there hugged up with some white man talking about we're gonna bring troops in Africa and whatnot. I mean, you just gotta pick your battles. You know what I'm saying? Pick your battles. I think what you call like people with let me tell you something. I see there's a familiar pattern here.
Go ahead.
When Africans are successful, right, and they do things that's right, they're gonna be attacked. They're gonna be discredited, because remember, misery, like I said, misery merchants. Misery is always a norm in Africa, right? And like I said, we gotta do something about that, right? So when Africans do have some success and everything, there's always a way for people to sort of poke holes in it and say, something, because he did this, he did that, he did this. Now, when somebody's outright crook, they completely ignore it. Like Zuma. Do you see that day when they were impounding Zuma's car? He had 27 brand new Porsches and Lamborghinis.
Yeah,
the former president
of South Africa, right?
Yeah. But no one said anything because why? Because he speaks the so-called indigenous. I'm a Zulu.
Hell yeah, people said something. His ass got kicked out, got ran out.
No, but that was over. Like he should have never been president in the first place. When he basically raped a woman with AIDS and he was tested positive for AIDS, whatever.
Whoa,
and the guy,
I never heard that one.
Yeah, look it up. But but I agree, he was acquitted, so we let it go. And so that was back in like 2009, whatever, like that. So I didn't hear nothing about it. He was on trial for a while, But the bottom line, the guy should have been president in the first place. So my whole thing is this: the president of Equatorial Guinea, right? You know about that, right? The son, the people living in poverty, huh? The oil companies put him in power. They put him in power. He was exiled king or chief, and so he went to the CIA and all the people, and they planted him back in power. You know what I'm saying? And so now he, a matter of fact, to be honest with you, right? He invited, he like I said, we get caught up in this, and he invited African Americans to come there, blah blah blah. Now the colonnade on in Ecuador is real beautiful. The sea, where the pier and the boardwalk meets the sea is very beautiful. I mean, my God, it's beautiful. And he did some infrastructure work, but I can't take my eye on the fact that his son is a worldwide jet setter with like 5 yachts, Lamborghinis, all kinds of French and European girls. He's in what's that place in south of France, that little island.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Let me look it up.
Moldova or whatever. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, so he's there, he's jet setting, and from what I hear, one of the countries, I think it was France, impounded some of his cars, for corruption. International. I don't know if it's legal or nothing like that, but even some Europeans are getting tired of the stuff that goes on. But that's what's going on. I hear that Kabila, and let me get back to my story about Kabila. Now, back in 95, it was 96, right? Laurent Kabila pops out of nowhere, right? And he was a colorful character. I took to this guy, man. I was like, I like this guy, man. Anyway, he was on the news every freaking day on CNN. He was gaining ground. It says he was in the thing, he's gearing his troops up, right? So he gathered all his troops up there, the top of Mabudu, right?
Right.
And Mabudu started making all these concessions. Oh, we want to do this, we do this, that. And his troops, as Kabila started closing in, right? And what you call it, Kabila told him, said, even though, get this, they were sitting down talking together at a summit, right? He said, my troops in the field advancing towards Kinshasa. When we get here, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna put you on trial and hang you, you know what I'm saying? So Mabudu was sitting there, no. He tried one last thing. No, we're gonna do this, no. You have to go. So and the way he took the Congo, province by province, city by city, and basically, I remember the morning his troops broke into Kinshasa. Mabudu had already fled to Morocco. They were going to hang him. And so therefore he said this is going to be a new day for the Congo. I was like, oh my God, this is great. The Congo's liberated. And then like 6 months later, he's assassinated, and then his sons are put in power. And it's been like nothing ever since. That's been over 20 years, like 98, whatever, like 20 years. And right. The Congo's doing okay. It's doing okay, but there's still majority of the Congo is still unstabilized.
Yeah.
Which is a threat to the whole entire sub-region. You know, you cannot have unstable regions. You know,
Right.
because right now you have Europeans shipping weapons in. You know what I'm saying? Unfettered. You know, there's weapons, there's all kinds of stuff like that in the deep in the Congo, and Europeans, Chinese, and everybody like are ripping natural resources off. You know, tunneling through back channels and everything inside the Congo. You know, and not only that, if you let that go on, that's a real threat to the governments of the region. You know, because it caused a refugee crisis, and also that's what Kagame was doing. He was keeping these rebels out of. It allows Hutu rebels and all those other people cover. You know what I'm saying? Cover. When you have lawlessness, you give criminals and mercenaries and all these people cover. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
To do whatever you want to do, impunity and punity to do whatever you want to do. You know, and that's what Kagame was good at battling people. He keeping these people miles away from his border. You
Right.
know, because that's what because Rwanda's stable right now because there's a perimeter like 15 miles outside of Rwanda. You cannot go near it because there'll be consequences. That's why people create a militarized zone around the border. You know, because if you let people do whatever they want freely in the border near your border, they can influence the rebel element that's held in check by the rule of law inside your country. You know, so that's what's happening.
Mhm.
But like I said. Oh, any other questions?
Let's see what we got here in the chat room. Let's see here. Nothing
How do I look?
really. I
How
mean,
do I look? How do I look at the chat room? Can I look at it?
yeah. Oh shoot, the first link I sent you to your Facebook message
Yeah.
that will bring you to the chat room.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, the first link.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right. Okay, I can put links in there. Hold up. Okay, let's see something. All right. I'll put a link. All right. All right.
Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Me and the brother Cali Genesis. Make sure you guys go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure you like, follow, share, all that good stuff. Make sure you, if you're new to YouTube, this platform on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, share, and like. Also go to searchforhuru.com, go to dynastymirror.com, and go to amazon.com and search your name Dynasty Mirror, please, and please buy a book. We'll ask two more questions.
Right.
Let's see here. Let's see what we got here in the chat room. You want to deal with nuclear power or?
Okay, I'll talk with nuclear power. Right.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with nuclear power.
in Africa.
There's no
From
in
Africa.
Africa. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Let me
Africa
ask real quick, not to sorry to cut you off. So South Africa during apartheid had a nuclear uh, program
yeah,
going
I had
on.
bomb. He developed a bomb with Israel.
Okay, why did they go? Is the reason why they, I guess, got rid of it or disposed it because they knew blacks were about to take over? Is that
Yep.
why? Or?
Exactly. That was one of the reasons. One of the things agreements when the ANC took over was that before that happened, before they started getting the negotiating part, right? When it looked like the elections, when they the day they set the date for the elections, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when they got rid of scrapped the nuclear program. They was already scrapping it, but that's when they got rid of all the nuclear weapons, tore down, burned down all the manuals, whatever like that, before it took any chance that any black country would have nuclear weapons.
Mm.
That's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Now, nuclear weapons and nuclear energy is two different things.
Correct.
With one take of uranium, right, enriched uranium, you can basically in a centrifuge is enough to give you enough electricity that like 5 or 10 tons of coal can do. You got to burn coal. When you burn coal, right, it creates steam.
Mm-hmm.
And steam turns to turbines. The turbines create electromagnetism, right? and that's how electricity is generated. It's going to a stator, it's stepped up in voltage and everything, and it goes out to the transmission line. You got to have force, like a hydro dam. A dam turns the turbines with the dropping of water. The water drops on it or everything, it goes into the turbine. It's like a generator. It creates electromagnetism, and the electromagnetism is stepped up and magnified and sets out. But so long the water is turning those turbines, you got electricity being produced. The nuclear energy, right? Uses the heat from the nuclear fusion, right? The steam water, right?
Right.
And then like that. But the uranium will last for months. You know, that little thing of uranium will last for months, as opposed to having to keep putting gasoline or methane, whatever like that, and burn methane to turn the turbine. The heat from the one little bit of uranium could turn the turbine for months. That's why nuclear energy is much more efficient than anything else, but it's expensive to build and it's dangerous, because it's radioactive. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to get rid of the waste. But yeah, nuclear energy is good. But Africa has so much water potential, water potential to produce hydroelectricity. The Koreans want to build a 25,000 megawatt dam in southern Africa, right? That will give the whole continent, right? Ethiopia is building a dam, 25,000 megawatts, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about that. I heard about that.
When they build that dam, you can develop Kenya, you can develop Sudan, you can develop all across the continent. That'd be enough electricity to sell half the continent. You know what I'm saying? Easily.
Oh yeah, okay. And correct me if I'm wrong. So in regards to the Ethiopian dam, I think I was told that it's going to be on the Nile River. Am I correct?
It's going to be on the Blue Nile.
Right. And then from my understanding, I think there is some type of treaty form that that Ethiopians weren't allowed to build a dam.
No. This is what's going on.
Okay.
The British had a territory called Anglo Sudan, Egypto Sudan.
Right.
And the agreement called the Anglo-Egyptian Agreement, right? When the British came there, right, they assumed that North Africa was the superior because the lighter you are, we North Africa. Southern Sudan was the Africa. So they made one territory. The British Sudan, Egypt Sudan, right? The North, right, and so Sudan, Egypt, right, always consider themselves the superior to the South, even though the Nile goes from the South to the North. You know what I'm saying? The source of the Nile comes from Lake Victoria in Africa, in the north, right? So in other words, damming up the Nile River to restrict water rights in Egypt, right? Egypt's going to go to war, and same thing with North Sudan. South Sudan has control over its water. They can thirst it out if they want to. They can build a dam that we ain't gonna give no more water.
But the Nile technically starts in Uganda because it flows.
Right. Yeah. It flows. The thing is, the Blue Nile, and the White Nile join up again, and it flows it breaks out. It flows from Uganda all the way through Kenya, and it goes through Ethiopia.
People are saying you're echoing. You sound good on my end though. That's weird. But people,
I feel like I'm echoing too.
Okay, all right. Well, whatever you have to do. Yeah, but you sound good on my end.
Hold on, maybe I need to mute. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you need to mute the actual
that's
stream. Yeah, you got to mute the stream.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't know. So I muted, but I couldn't hear.
No. Okay, so don't mute our Hangout. Mute the actual stream.
Oh, okay, right here.
You there? No. You muted the wrong one. Don't mute the Hangout. You have to mute the stream. The stream with the chat. You have to mute that screen, but don't mute the Hangout.
Oh, well. One day we gotta get this. I don't know.
Okay, I think you're good. Go ahead. But yeah, you got to mute the actual the stream with the chat and all that. You have to mute that page, but don't mute our Hangout.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we should be good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we what we have is. Oh man, that's bad. Hold on. I'm trying to think of where exactly you're telling me to meet. And
Okay,
get on
so
my
okay. So on the actual stream, like that everybody's watching, there's
right.
the volume button next to the play and pause button. You gotta mute it from there.
Okay. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know where that's at. I can't see it.
Okay, all
Let's
right.
see.
So hold on. I'm about to share the screen. Hold on one second. Let me share the screen. Give me
Right.
1 second. 1 second. Let me share the screen. Share, share, present to everybody. Hi. All right. So on this right here, you see the cursor where it says mute, unmute on the actual stream.
Oh, okay. That's YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta stream it. You gotta mute it from YouTube.
Oh, okay. I'm not
Yeah,
even on YouTube.
Oh, I thought you said you were watching it.
No. I'm watching it from the Hangout. The Hangout. It's not.
Oh, okay. Never mind it. Never mind. Okay. All right. Well, just go ahead and continue with the echo.
Yeah.
Go ahead
Okay.
and continue.
Sorry about that. We gotta
Go
figure
ahead.
out how to get that up. That's no, it sounds terrible.
Mhm.
Well, what I was saying basically was the Nile River, the dam that Ethiopia was built on there is going to restrict water going into Egypt.
Mhm.
Now, Egypt claims that it has sovereignty over the entire Nile, not based on historical records, because you can't find any part of the thing where Egypt or Arabs ever controlled that into that part of Africa. They make
Mhm.
the get this, and let's understand this very well. Let me understand the Arab mind.
It's white, and I say so. That's what it is. But go ahead.
Right. And they're saying that because the Nile was once controlled by Britain, and they're the stewards of the British Empire. The British installed them these emirs and all stuff like that in Cairo. The British controlled Uganda, Kenya, and everything like that, and they placed they say they placed Egypt right as the or the how would you say liaisons or the caretakers of the Nile River. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Is that yeah.
But Ethiopia was never colonized.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So any agreement, whatever like that they think they have, doesn't apply. And Ethiopia is going ahead with building its dam. Now you got Saudi Arabia who is signing deals with South Sudan for water rights. Water rights.
Mhm.
Buying water. Water is good. Water. I tell people all the time. The biggest resource that can be monetized in Africa is going to be water. Africa has some of the largest river systems in the world. The Nile's the biggest. Then you got the Congo, you got the Niger River, you got the
Niger.
Okavango, you got the Zambezi River, all this water potential in Africa. There's no reason why Africa can't be highly developed if this water potential was harnessed right. Now
Right.
it has the Great Lakes region. Africa, there should be no thirsty. Permaculture, diverting that water to the Sahara Desert, and the Kalahari Desert, the Green Desert, create new bastions for wildlife and for people to build and farm and stuff like that. These are the things I studied years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Africa's potential, the biggest potential is water. There's more water in Africa than any other part of the world. There's no potential. Do you know what it means? What I mean by water, I mean just taking that water, developing, right, and making water farms, storage tanks. You know what I'm saying? And then treating
Mhm.
the water and making it affordable and livable. And then you got water for industrial use, for farming, for livestock. If you even take water, right, and build artificial canals for wildlife. You know what I'm saying? You say drought and everything like that. Create an artificial waterways for elephants, whatever like that. There's enough. There's enough human ingenuity, and we take human ingenuity and science and technology. We could build Africa and make Africa. The water from the Sudan, right? Sudan is the fertile place in the world, right? If you divert water from the Congo, right? I have the projections, right, of diverting water from the Congo, right, all the way up to the Sahara Desert, right, under trenches up to the Sahara Desert. You could green the Sahara Desert, right, and create a new human frontier. Human frontier. The Sahara Desert can look just like South Sudan, rich and fertile land. You know what I'm saying? Right now, the Sahara Desert is creeping south. You know what I'm saying? Something has to be done. Something has to be done. That's what the problems you have in northern Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? With the livestock and stuff like that. A lot of it has to do with the creeping of the Sahara, the Lake Chad drying up, and stuff like that. These are challenges that we have in Africa that nobody's addressing. No one's addressing. You know?
Right. Brother, what we'll go ahead and do, let's see if we got any more questions in the chat room. Not really. Brother, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out. I mean, anything you want to share in closing, and also to make sure you give everybody your contact information as well.
Okay. College Genesis. You can reach me at the Black African Infrastructure Organization social network. We believe in infrastructure, right? We believe in Black African infrastructure. Currently, there is no real Black African united infrastructure in the world, right? Land infrastructure nationhood. Owning the land, building the infrastructure, then you'll have nationhood and civilization. What I talked about tonight was rebuilding Black civilization. And you cannot do this without science, technology, learning, peace, and all the things we talked about. So there's definitely geopolitical challenges. So you can reach me at www.baio.
I'm going to put it in the chat room as well, but go ahead.
baio.africstan.org. That's our social network. Join our social network. Get to know us. Okay. And you can hit me up on College Genesis on Facebook. You can hit me on College Genesis on Instagram. You can hit me on College Genesis on Twitter. I'd like to hear from you. You want to ask me any questions? Feel free. I'm always available. In the future, I'm going to be announcing some big things that we're doing in Angola and Zimbabwe and different African countries. And we're trying to make it. Also, visit the Rosenthal Group, TRG, Rosenthal Group on Facebook. That's TRG, the Rosenthal Group. Okay? That's one of the groups I'm affiliated with. Please check us out. See what we're doing as far as banking, real estate, monetary, science, infrastructure, and all these things that we're bringing with our African brothers and sisters in the continent. And we're doing this for the future. We have to, other people plot their future by hundreds of years. I don't see that. The BAI is one of the few groups that we're plotting now for how we're going to go forward in the future. And we're getting a lot of positive feedback who are also forward thinking. And we have to be forward thinking. What are we going to do 20 years? How do we want to be 20 years? 20 years will slip by just like that.
Man,
we'll be still here saying the same thing. So we're doing now. All the stuff Search for Huru is doing is going to affect all the shows that we do, all the people that which minds would change, their hearts would changing. It's going to have a direct effect, and already having, because it's just by my being on the internet for years. I've seen people say, "I took your advice. I went to Zambia. I did this." So I'm like, "Wow, I'm having this influence on people." And I got people talking about, "Yeah, we're doing this, we're doing this." Just all the words I'm saying, just all the stuff that I always knew that was in my head, and I'm glad to share it with you. I inspire people, So is my brother here, Diane Samir.
Thank you.
So this is, like I said, this is going to grow in the future. This is going to grow, and this is not going anywhere. Pan-Africanism and African nationalism is the oldest ideology in Black America. Let me say that again. Pan-Africanism and African nationalism is the manifest destiny of building with Africa, or building in Africa, or building a frontier in Africa and being part of Africa. Is the oldest ideology. It's the oldest ideology in America. Civil rights and integration and inclusion in America is not even 60 years old. The idea that we should have a nation of our own and build Africa and free Africa, whether some people, whether you're a Christian, whatever like that, but the idea that we're Africans and we can build with Africa is the old, is the first Africans that were brought to these shores and chains. It's not anything new. You know what I'm saying? This is the way our ancestors fought when we were under the whip, we were in chains. We have to redeem ourselves. We have to build our homeland. We have to drive the white man out of Africa. This is the way we always thought. You know, so this is what we're going to continue that legacy. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be all black power, blah, blah, blah. You just have to know where you're at, know who you are, and know where you want to go, and know where you want to go, who you want to go with. You know, but that's all I have to say.
All right, cool. Everybody, once again, thank you so much for coming on, brother Caligenesis. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, brother.
You know, anytime we gotta do this again soon. Again,
yeah, we're gonna get back to Liberia, and there's a couple other things.
Back to Liberia.
Yeah, Liberia is very important. We have to get that right. You know, we have to get that right. I think the next show will definitely clear it up because I'm gonna bring some stuff, and I want to, like I said, I want to do pictures and illustrations. That's the only way I can do this. You know. Because I have to show.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying pictures and illustrations because once you say, I say something, I say, okay, boom, I show the picture, blah, blah, blah. And then people say, oh, wow, you know, oh, wow. You know, puts it in the context, you know. Yeah. So.
I was gonna say we could next Monday if you're free, or just let me know.
Yeah, next Monday will be great. Next Monday will be perfect.
All right, so next Monday. Everybody, once again, thank you for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Search for Huru. Till next time, peace.
Thank you, bro.